Hi, LMCC Creative Writers. Congratulations on making it all the way to week 6 of Virtual Camp Challenge. I'm super proud of you and everything that you've accomplished this summer. This week, we're going to be going over my top 10 tips for becoming a better writer. These tips will help you if you're somebody who loves writing naturally and you dream of becoming a writer one day. But they'll also help you if maybe you don't enjoy writing for fun, but you would like to have a job someday or go to college. Becoming a better writer will help you with all of those things. Writing is something that you use, sometimes in school it feels like, why am I doing this assignment? It doesn't really, I'm not really going to use this when I grow up. But writing is actually something that you do use all the time. When you're applying for a job, for instance, or even when you're writing social media posts, a well-written post communicates something totally different about you than maybe something that is less well-crafted. So all that to say, writing is something you use in your daily life, and it can really help you to kind of foster those skills. And hopefully some of you think that writing is fun and that you'll keep it up, throughout school and beyond. So 10 tips for becoming a better writer. The first one is to read. You might think that this is boring, but reading helps you become a better writer without you even trying, really. As long as you're choosing things that are interesting to you and, preferably things that are written well. So maybe it challenges you a little bit to read it, or if you're reading something and it makes you really excited and it's really interesting, then it's likely that it's a well-written book because, the sign kind of mark of good writing or writing that you might be interested in is, can it hold your attention? Does it teach you new things? Does it, broaden your horizons? If you've never found a book that is interesting to you, or you don't think you like to read, I would encourage you to next time, during the school year or even over the summer, if you can, get a book. If your parent or guardian could help you track down either from your local library as they open back up or from online. Try to choose a topic or a type of book that is related to something you already like to do. So if you love basketball or sports, try to find, for instance, a biography about your favorite athlete. Find out about what their childhood was like. How did they get to where they wanted to go? What were some of the challenges that they overcame, for instance? All of those things would not only help you become a better writer because you're reading more, but they would help you be a better athlete too. If you love to watch action movies or mystery movies, or maybe you really enjoy fantasy like dragons or, a variety of different things, you can find books about any of that. All sorts of books exist, and a lot of them written for your age group are even graphic novels, so they have tons of images in them. I say all of this to encourage you not to give up on reading if it hasn't worked for you in the past, or if you don't like what you read in school. There are books out there for you, and with a little bit of effort, you can definitely find them. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to find other people, preferably like friends or classmates, who like to write, and get together virtually or together in person and share your writing with each other. This might not be something that you're used to doing at all, but if you and a friend, for instance, even if it's just one other person, you can write stories and share them with each other, or write poems. That other person can give you feedback on your writing, and you can give them feedback on your writing, and the two of you together can strengthen each other's skills. So number 2 is to find other people who write that you can share your work with. If you can't find somebody else who enjoys writing and you really love to write, do use YouTube. Google, like, if you have a favorite author or even a favorite book, see if that person ever made a video or an interview where they talk about how they do what they do. Writing is a profession just like anything else. So you can find out, kind of like a lot of information about how to become a better writer from the writers that you already like. So if you can find someone in your life already that likes to write and you can do it with them, that's the best. The second best is find other people online, or in books or whatever, that can teach you about their craft. Tip number 3. This is not a writing tip, actually. It's just a life tip in general, is to try new things. It could be learning to ride a bike. It could be going for walks every day. It could be trying to cook something. It could be, trying a new sport or making something with your hands, or, I'm just trying to think of a couple things that you could do right now. The more that you're able to push yourself to try new things that are maybe a little bit uncomfortable for you, you will be more courageous in your own writing, and you'll have more experience to draw on when you're writing a story. So if you're writing a story about somebody who learns to ride a bicycle, but you've never really ridden a bicycle, or you don't know what it's feel like, see, maybe there's somebody nearby you could borrow their bike and they could teach you. Or maybe you're trying to write a story about chocolate cake and you want to know how to actually make a chocolate cake, if that's part of the story and your character, whatever. There's all different sorts of scenarios, but if you can try to do the things firsthand that you want to write about, you will gain a whole different kind of knowledge from trying new things. Plus, it helps your brain, actually, when you try new things, like new passageways in your brain kind of open up, and that's great for writing. So if you've never tried something and you've always kind of wanted to, or if you've been afraid to, and you can do it safely, try to do it. And maybe then afterwards try to write about it, or don't, and just let it kind of build to your experience. Tip number 4 is to, whenever possible, write every day. One of the best ways to become a better writer, and this also applies to, like, if you want to become a better artist or better basketball player or better swimmer, try to do it as often as possible, because the repetition and the consistency that you build, consistency means just kind of like you're showing up every day, you're putting the time in, you're putting the work in, that will already improve your writing over time. So, like, when it comes to schoolwork, maybe it's learning how to pace your assignments, like your homework assignments, so that they don't all kind of build up at once. Like, especially those of you that are in high school, if you can kind of set, okay, I'm going to set a timer for 30 minutes and I'm going to work on writing this essay, then I'm going to give myself a break after. Like, doing it in small chunks every day will help you, not only will help you become better at writing, but it will also help you manage your time and assignments. And another thing that's related to this, it's kind of like the next tip that I have, is writing is all about editing. So a lot of times in school, you might not have time to edit an assignment, but I bet you probably by high school, you are submitting like what would be a first draft of an assignment, and then you have an opportunity to rework it. Really use those chances to take risks and to further kind of like hone, like craft and materialize what you're trying to say. So if like, you could sit down and write something right now, and it would probably be like, okay, pretty good, great, like a poem. If you took a break for a day or two or a couple hours and came back to it, you could probably change things about that poem that would make it flow and feel even better. That's like editing. And that's a great skill for the assignments that you write for school, but it's even better for the writing that you do for yourself. So that's kind of like 2 tips together, is like, do it as often as you can in small chunks, and then revisit pieces that you've written already and edit them to make them better. Okay. This is tip number 6. I think I've lost track, but is to keep a dream journal. This is something, if you're somebody that has super vivid dreams, and or you don't really enjoy journaling about daily life, maybe keep a log of the different things that you dream about. When you wake up in the morning, you can write them down really quick. I know a lot of people that do this, that it gives them, not only does it help them like write first thing in the morning, but it's kind of fun, and you learn things about yourself while you're doing it. I don't always remember my dreams when I wake up, so sometimes it's better maybe for me just to journal from my everyday experience, like I kind of talked to you guys last week. But the idea is that you're writing every day, and that you're writing about things that are interesting to you. A dream journal might just be one way of doing that. Tip number 7, this is related to one of the earlier tips where I said to find other people who write and become friends with them. This tip, number 7, is to keep going. Or maybe this is number 8. I think this is number 8. There are 10 tips, I promise, but they might have gotten a little bit fuzzy in the order. Keep going and find opportunities to write. Meaning, at your school, there's probably a school newspaper or a school yearbook. Maybe even there's a writing club, I'm not sure. Try to get involved there and write articles. If there isn't a school newspaper, maybe you want to start one with your friends, and you can report on things that are happening at the school, things that are happening in your community. It's a great opportunity to like write about and report things that you're passionate about and interested in. There's been so much happening with Black Lives Matter. I'm sure you've been following it to some extent on social media, because I know most of you guys are involved in social media, but writing a news article or a journalism article is a little bit different than just reading like a very brief post. When you write an article, you have to go into more than just like your opinions about something. You have to research it. And if you're able to do that at your school with other people that, are interested in it, you not only can you create real change in your community, but you can kind of become a professional writer like right now. You can write, I don't know, I know this is like incredibly old-fashioned, but you can even write letters to the editor, which are where you write like a couple paragraphs and you submit it to the newspaper, the local newspaper, and you can get published in there. People can read your work, even now. So what I'm saying is like, keep going, find opportunities to get your work out there if you're interested in it. Or if there isn't an opportunity like that you can find, create it. Like if you want to make a magazine for you and your friends, all you need is some paper and some pens and maybe a stapler. You can come up with content right now. And that's kind of what I want to tell you, is that like, you are a writer already. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to, be the best. If you're interested in writing and you want to try it, you are already a writer. So, and everybody can kind of grow from there. Tip number 9 is not to second guess yourself. This doesn't mean like that you're always right or that you always know what's best. It just means when you're writing about something and you feel really strongly about it, chances are like that's called your intuition. And in writing, it's really important. So if you're reporting on a story about like say you're writing a newspaper article and you're writing a story about a new building or something like that, but you feel like they aren't exactly doing things in an honorable way, or that's like pretty serious. But even if you're writing a story and you feel like a character, should really strongly have this feature, or they should be a certain way, or you want them to experience an event, even as you're editing, don't second guess that initial intuition too much. Try to trust yourself, because your thoughts matter. That's really the point of this, is like, you right now as a young person, your thoughts and opinions matter, and you don't have to have you don't have to be older You don't have to even have a college education, or you can form your opinions now. You do have to do some research sometimes, but what I'm basically saying is your voice matters, and you have a tremendous amount of value. So when you're writing something, even if someone tries to kind of steer you away from that, if it's something that you're really passionate about, that you believe in, that you care about, please write it. If only for yourself. Like, don't second guess that voice inside of you that says that you need to express this. The last tip is just this: a writer is someone who writes. If you have any part of you that would love to become a writer one day, know that you already are a writer now. You just need to practice. You just need to try more. That if you don't want to be a writer one day, but you do want to have a job or go to college, your voice is, you are the only person with your voice. And that sounds really silly, but you are the only person that can write from your perspective, your experiences, where you grew up, the things that you care about. All of those are special and they're particular to you. And it's my belief that the world would benefit from hearing your voice. Whatever that means for you, whatever that ends up looking like in your life, I don't know. But if any part of you wants to be a writer and you need somebody to tell you that you, in fact, are a writer and you can do this, I am that person, and I believe in each of you. A writer is someone who writes. So if you want to become a writer, just write, just do it, and the rest will follow. I wanted to end our 6-week session with a little poem. Let's see if I can share the screen. Oh, wait a minute. This poem is really great. It's from an author, Jacqueline Woodson. This is what she looks like. She's written a ton of books, some for children, some for adults. But she has this poem that I think is just lovely, and that I would like each of you to remember as I leave you for the summer and as hopefully you begin to write in other areas of your life. The poem is called On Paper by Jacqueline Woodson. The first time I write my full name, Jacqueline Amanda Woodson, without anybody's help, on a clean white page in my composition notebook, I know if I wanted to, I could write anything. Letters becoming words, words gathering meaning, becoming thoughts outside my head, becoming sentences written by Jacqueline Amanda Woodson. You can write whatever you want to. You can do this. Your thoughts matter, your voices matter, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer and a good school year ahead. Okay, signing off. Take care, creative writers, and if you do ever want feedback on your work, I'll leave our email, the lmccreativewriters@gmail.com, in the comments, and you can reach out to me there. Or if you need help on something, I'm happy to help. Okay, take care all.